Hey guys, so let's talk about W-Wish. This anime is a very interesting anime. It's based off of a video game of the same name, came out in '04. The animation style kind of reflects that it's based off a video game in my opinion. And it's very kind of interesting style. Actually, kind of reminds me of When They Cry, the animation style that is. Now this is a story that is interesting, but I think it lost a lot of support instantly when they made one of the major love interests in the story a sister. That just turns people off, and I have to admit, it turned me off a little bit. I had a hard time getting over that hurdle. I made it through the series. People said, keep going, keep going. I finally made it through. This anime series ranks pretty low on rating systems, and there's probably a good reason for that. It's kind of confusing. The characters are kind of annoying in a sense. I don't know. They're kind of just not fully developed, and they're kind of annoying, and all their actions are a little overdramatic. But the plot is confusing. I don't know. I was going to say something good about it, but then I was like, no, it's not really that good. How do I put it? I guess the best way of explaining it is to basically sum it up. So there might be some spoilers ahead. If I was going to give it a ranking, I'd give it 2.5 out of 5, which is pretty bad on my ranking system. I mean, you're getting pretty down. So basically what happens? So there's a guy, he's in high school, he's living with his sister, his parents are gone, and he basically has no memories. His sister's kind of happy about that. They kind of live in this almost perfect kind of weird kind of world. Well, what ends up happening? Well, he starts to remember stuff, and the relationship between him and his sister becomes tenuous. It turns out that he's fairly popular with the ladies. Harem anime kind of classic theme. So basically, their relationship becomes strained. As it does, he starts to remember more things, and then something that changes the entire plot happens, which is his childhood friend shows up. Her name, and I'm not shitting you, is Haruhi. I just about threw my computer on the ground and stomped on it. But I did not. And I proceeded onward. Well, what happens then is basically they have this weird kind of petty competition. She ends up asking him out. Haruhi, that is not his sister. But he ends up declining. Then they go to the beach and they end up going out for a little bit. And he kind of gets really kind of messy. And you can kind of see where things are going. It breaks down into a classic three-way harem anime kind of scenario. Three-way, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, try not to be too gross in this. Anyway, so what ends up happening is eventually the whole anime takes another gigantic turn, which is the world starts falling apart. Literally. People start disappearing, people start appearing. It turns out there's this guy, this girl who's come to protect him. She turns out to be Time. It's fucked up. But basically, if you boil down, and this is a big spoiler because the only good thing about this anime is that the ending is unexpected. Anyway, what ends up happening is the Lady Time ends up explaining that he made a wish on this thing that his parents had dug up that basically told him that, let me put it this way. He ended up making a wish on this thing that their parents had dug up, which basically altered the world significantly by bringing to life his twin sister who had died when he was born. I'm not shitting with you. And because he had wished for her to exist, and his sister had wished for her to exist because her soul's just hanging around evidently. Didn't go anywhere, just chilling, just kind of chilling there. Anyway, so because they both wished for it, they made an alternative world where her parents die. His sister basically vanishes from his memories. However, comes looking for him in some weird concept and basically becomes his childhood friend in this alternative world. Well, what ends up happening is basically he realizes this and he's mad at his sister. Well, his sister, or his, his twin, I guess is what I should really call it. Anyway, what ends up happening is he's mad at her because he didn't, why didn't you tell me this? I mean, it's kind of understandable why he'd be upset. So she kind of just acts like nothing's wrong. And eventually what happens is there's this evil fog that falls over the village. And I'm not making this up. This is something I'd make up, but time starts falling apart. People appear from nowhere. It gets kind of crazy. People disappear too. Anyway, so what ends up happening is he's all upset, so he's trying to force himself to remember. He's like, oh, I gotta remember what happened. And he finally does. Meanwhile, his sisters make up somewhat, I guess. And he basically remembers that he can't wish for something to change, that he needs somebody else to wish for too. So okay, that's fine. So he goes and finds his sister with the weird wheel thing that they caused this whole wish thing to start, and they end up wishing for a new world where they can all coexist basically. So what ends up happening is him and Haruhi end up becoming childhood friends. Okay, so that's kind of where they started in this anime anyway. It's kind of one of these frustrating animes. And what ends up happening to the sister is that she becomes his sister, only she's born considerably later in the timeline. So, I just saved you 13 episodes of total bullshit because it is not... That sounds like a really weird but interesting kind of concept for a plot. But the execution is so poor that it's, in my opinion, it's not worth checking out. Once again, I give it 2.5 out of 5, and that's only because I heard that the game is considerably better and does a better job of doing everything about it. Now, that may not be true, but I give them some credit for trying something adventurous. I mean, it's an interesting concept for an anime. Frankly, I wish that they would have explained everything a lot better, but, you can't ask for the moon, you know what I mean? I don't know. But it definitely kind of deserves the ranking it gets by most people. I mean, most people don't even know what this show is, so... but yeah, if you're looking for a trippy kind of anime that has a love triangle that involves a sister, I still can't... That is why this anime doesn't have more respect for me. Now, anyway, I'm sorry, that's some invisible wall that's up there. I should really think about that. Anyway, but I can understand why it doesn't get higher ranking, and yeah. If you're into an anime, I think I was trying to say this. If you were into an anime that is a intense love triangle with a sister, has overdramatic parts in it, and is pretty short, this might be your ticket. Actually reminded me a lot of Shuffle, which is it's kind of weird to think of it that way, but in the semi-mystical aspects of it, or in a sense kind of like Canon, only I think Canon did a lot better job of this plot in the similarities that it has. Now, I think Canon's considerably better than this, but this one definitely has some... No, I don't even know if I'd say that. It's just kind of in a sense that they're both very weird, I guess. In fact, I dropped the whole Canon thing because I don't think they're similar at all. Or even the Shuffle thing. That one's a little bit of a stretch too. It's just a weird series, I guess. That's it. Subscribe, comment, rate. Hopefully I have more time to watch anime. Too much stuff to do right now. That's basically it. Goodbye.